Okay, I was just watching the Diary of a CEO. Okay, and it was just playing. I wasn't really watching a full episode. It was my mom was just doing her hair and she had it playing for herself, and I came in and said good morning, all that kind of stuff. But on this episode of Diary of a CEO, it was Tony Robinson. Tony Robinson was talking about how he was making $40 a week being a janitor at that time, probably a lot more. And somebody was telling him about a seminar. He's like, "Is it really that valuable? Is it really that meaningful to go?" And he says, "I don't know. For you, it might be, or it might not be. It doesn't matter. If it is valuable, go. If it's not, don't." Tony Robinson ends up going, and it was Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn's a famous seminar speaker at that time, and at the very end of it, he built up the courage, and he was so in his space of like, "Oh, I want to come work for you. I want to go come do all this for you. Jim Rohn, please let me do all this kind of stuff for you. I want to, work under you," because obviously he doesn't want to make $40 a week. That's probably the equivalent to what people would generally make at this time, but you get the point. And Jim Rohn was like, "Oh, um, if you want to come work for me, you gotta go to my programs, and you gotta go see this, and this, or you gotta do these things." And he's like, "Okay, that's fine. How much does it cost?" And at the time, it was $1,200, which at that time now would be 10,000. So that's like, how the hell am I gonna get this money? This guy makes $40 a week, so $40 a week is like about, I don't know, $200 maybe. I don't know. And it got to a point where he was like, his instant mindset was, this guy wants money from me. And that's what he kept saying to himself. This guy wants money from me. That's all he wants. This is what he does, and it's a Ponzi scheme, whatever it is, right? And that's the mindset we tell ourselves in these scenarios, right? When we really want something and it's really hard to get, we tell ourselves the negative. And in that moment, he still knew that, no, this guy's kind of right. I do gotta have this money, so I can go get this thing and go do this stuff, right? He ends up going to 5 different banks. The 5th one, he tells the lady, "This is how much I need." She's like, "I don't know if the bank's gonna lend it to me." He's like, "You don't understand this and the other." And she's like, "Look, I'll go ask the bank if we can lend you this money. If not, I'll lend you the money. But you gotta promise me that I won't gotta look you up or find you till we get this money back." And he was like, I promise you, I'll do whatever it takes. Anyways, obviously, Toby Robinson, he does his thing, and that was a very nice woman, and she helped him immensely, and he did what he was meant to do. His purpose is he went to Jim Rohn, he talked to him, and Jim Rohn ended up telling him that, well, I guess Toby Robinson went up to him and said, "How come I have forefathers, and each one of these guys, they work their butt off, but sometimes there's barely food on the table, barely any clothes to wear, and it's like, what do I do? Or what they did wrong? Like, why does a teacher not make as much?" And at the time, teachers are making like 35,000, and he was like, "I don't know what to tell you, my man. It's like it's your value. Anyone could go to McDonald's and work there because it's not like a long-term job, but it's very much so as simple and easy as you just get trained for 2 hours and you know everything. That's not valuable, right? The skill of learning very fast. Like if you get that, whatever it takes to average on everybody 2 hours and 5 minutes, okay, that's a different story. All right, you can take that anywhere. But McDonald's washing plates, taking up an order, that is not customer service. That is not, that is the basics, right? But when you work at a company or someone else, you become a value, right? For the most part, depending on what type of job you work, right? That's why people go to college, so that they can become a doctor, so they have high value, right? And they're specialists, and I think that, and Jim Rohn telling him, that is your value. What value do you bring to the table? And I think everyone thinks either they're 100% more valuable than what they are, or they're not. They don't think of themselves as valuable, and both can can take you to negatives, right? If you overthink you're valuable, you go anywhere you go, and you act like you have value when you really don't, then you're cocky with it. No one's gonna want you there. You don't see that you don't have any value, right? But if you have a little bit of value, you take it, act like you that value is gonna be the best thing in the world. You don't know whose lives you can change, right? It can be a big company or just a regular day-to-day person. And when you think of yourself you have no value, then you think you have no value and you're less than. You don't have nothing to give. Oh, there's no value in me. People don't want to talk to me. There's no point. Da, da, da. But if you take the time to look at yourself like I have no value now to give out to the world or to other people or to myself, let me build that value. Let me go to the gym. Okay, now I'm working out. I have value. People look at me maybe a little bit higher, or people like I'm disciplined. Right, I have the value of discipline. We take that discipline into some type of work I do, whether it be something, especially nowadays, online. Who can I help online, and who can I do? I become an influencer to become a gym influencer? Do I take a different step into this or that, or help people here, and you're not gonna help anybody in the beginning. You try to learn everything you can by, let's say, cold calling, let's say, a place, or you're doing research and this and that, then you learn, and then you find a problem, right? Or you keep working, nothing's happening, and you find a problem like, oh, I don't know how to do this thing. Is there a problem I can solve that no one has that I can do this? Okay, fine, let's try that. And, you figure out a way to whatever it is that you want to do to become valuable and what you like, or what you like, and in it with what you like doing. Like, let's say you're a soccer player, and in your town or your state or whatever, there's no real good soccer coaches. That is a problem you can fix, right? Then build an academy, and then slowly, train one or two guys, then three, four, five, then a whole academy. Then you got two academies in two different states, and you got boom, 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 and you just work your way up, and that's basically it. You created value. Um, in both scenarios, you just look at where you're at and how you look at that outlook, and I think people need to really take a step back and be like, I'm a person who can gain value, and right now I might not have enough value, but I can create more value, right? Tony Robinson was making $40 a week as a janitor and is now making 14 million with about 150 companies in so many different sectors and fields, and it's like, he's not the guru, he's not none of that. He was just a guy who was making 40 mil, and then he worked his way up to build value, and then he pushed himself to continue and increase and grow and grow and grow, because there's always room to grow, right? So I think that's what we just need to do is, if you have any type of business, you need value. What is that value? What is something that like people are like, oh shoot, right? The value could be quality at a cheap price, or quality and luxury at a high price, right? It could be medium, it can be packages, it could be something that you make money off of, and then the value is what they would pay for it, right? And I think the best way to look at it is, if you had all the money in the world, and there's usually stuff that you would go to, that you would do, like let's say a high ranking academy or something like that. Where would you go and what would you do to get into that thing? And with that thing that you would put all your money into, that is something you could also do, right? Like, um, let's say you need someone to help you in your business, right? If you could put all the money you can to help your business to grow, then so you would hire that person. Maybe you find a lot of people like that and make a business around that, right? I don't know. Or if you really like clothing and you put a lot of money into clothing, maybe it's for you to be a clothing brand. Or you don't have to create a clothing brand. You could, become a marketing designer, or head of marketing, sorry, or a designer, or someone who works in the fabrics, like something that you bring value to. Because each one of those people, a big company or any company would really need. Right? Start at a startup and then work your way up from there, and then you can make your own marketing team, or you work for someone better. It's not always you have to, because I think a lot of times that in this day and age, everyone needs to be a CEO or run their own business and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I think it's more so that you can maybe help another one because their value is more team oriented than a leader. And if you look at like Bruno from Nude Project, every single one of those people in that place, they love being where they're at. That makes sense. Like they don't make the final decision or the big moves because they don't really care about it. They care about how can we market this? What's the best way to do that? And that's what you gotta kind of look at. They're like, oh, this is really what I want to do here. I don't have to become a CEO to make a lot of money. This and the other. It's like, where can I be a marketer? You know. And then later on, then you can just pay someone when you're working at a bigger job as their main marketer or whatever it is. Take your own marketing company on the side, and then boom, And this is companies that we've worked for so long, blah blah. And then now you have your value. You can make a whole nother thing, and boom, there you go. So, anyways, I repeated myself a lot, but I just wanted to reiterate on different things because I know, for me, like someone could say the same thing, but it resonates with me with another person when it's said differently. Same thing. So try to give a little bit mix and match. But other than that, appreciate y'all. Have a good one.